I've been thinking a lot lately about the strange little world that exists beyond those sliding glass doors at the airport. It's this weird limbo, right? You're not really in the city anymore, but you're not exactly in the sky yet. You're just kind of there. And in that space, we all tend to operate on autopilot. We're juggling boarding passes, wrestling with zippers, chugging the last of our overpriced water before we hit the security line. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night, and I really want you to think about it for a second. When you're standing there, half asleep, pulling your laptop out of your bag, or when you're rushing to find the nearest restroom before boarding, how much attention are you actually paying to the people around you, specifically the people who are watching you? I'd love to know your take on this. Have you ever felt like someone was a little too close to you in line? Or have you ever had something go missing from your bag and you just couldn't figure out how it happened? Drop a comment and tell me about that moment. I'm genuinely curious to hear if you caught it, or if it was only later that the pieces started to fall into place. Stick with me here, because we're going to peel back the layers on something that doesn't get talked about enough. It's not just about the TSA rules we all memorize for the sake of getting our shampoo through the checkpoint. It's about understanding the entire ecosystem of the airport, the rules, the loopholes, the behavior of the crowd, and the people who exploit that chaos. We are going to get deep into the weeds on what the TSA actually allows versus what they strictly forbid, but we're going to do it with a pair of binoculars, so to speak. We're going to look at the airport not just as a traveler, but as an observer of human nature. Because once you understand why the rules are the way they are and how that environment creates opportunities for bad actors, you stop being a passive passenger and start being an active participant in your own safety. The great misconception about security theater. Let's start by tackling the elephant in the terminal. There's a term floating around out there called security theater. It's the idea that some of the procedures we go through are more about making us feel safe than actually being safe. And look, I'm not here to tell you that the TSA is perfect. Far from it. But I will tell you that dismissing the entire process as a waste of time is a dangerous game to play. The rules, even the ones that seem annoying, are almost always written in response to something that actually happened. Think about the liquid ban. That wasn't some bureaucrat waking up one morning and deciding to ruin your beach vacation by confiscating your expensive conditioner. That was a direct result of a foiled terrorist plot in 2006, where liquid explosives were disguised as everyday drinks and toiletries. So, while it might feel like a hassle to buy that tiny toothpaste at the Hudson News for $4, the rule exists because the threat was real. The TSA's list of allowed and forbidden items is a living document. It breathes and evolves based on intelligence, based on testing, and based on the creativity of people who want to do harm. But here's where the confusion sets in for most travelers. They look at the list and they think it's random. I can bring a hammer but not a screwdriver? I can bring a knitting needle but not a razor blade? It seems inconsistent until you understand the mindset. The TSA isn't just looking for sharp things. They are looking for things that can be used to hijack an aircraft or cause catastrophic damage in a pressurized cabin. A hammer is heavy and can cause damage, yes, but a small screwdriver can be used to jam a door mechanism or threaten a flight attendant in a much more immediate way. It's about the intent and the capability in a specific environment. The carry-on conundrum, what you can actually pack. So, let's get down to brass tacks. What are you actually allowed to bring in that carry-on that might surprise you? Because the general public often thinks the rule is no weapons, but the reality is far more nuanced. For instance, you can bring a solid food item of just about any size. A whole wheel of Parmigiano Reggiano? Go for it. A fruitcake that weighs as much as a bowling ball? Knock yourself out. It's the liquids, gels, and aerosols that are restricted to the infamous 311 rule. That's 3.4 ounces, 100 milliliters per container, all fitting into one quart-sized clear zip-top bag, one bag per passenger. But here's a pro tip that most people overlook. Medical necessity items are exempt. If you need a larger bottle of liquid medication or even frozen gel packs to keep insulin cool, you are allowed to bring them through, even if they exceed 3.4 ounces. The catch is that you have to declare them at the checkpoint. You can't just bury them in your bag and hope for the best. The officers need to screen them separately, and they will. I've seen people get incredibly anxious about this, trying to hide their medically necessary liquids, and it always ends with a longer pat-down and a bag search. Just declare it. They've seen it a million times. They're not there to take your medicine away. They're there to make sure it's not a threat. Then you have the oddball items. Tools. This is where people really get tripped up. You can generally bring tools that are 7 inches or shorter in your carry-on. Think wrenches, pliers, screwdrivers. But the moment that tool becomes a clubbing device or has a sharp edge, you're in trouble. A hammer is usually okay, but a crowbar is not. A small handsaw? Probably not. And let's talk about sports equipment. Baseball bats, hockey sticks, pool cues. These are all strictly forbidden in the cabin. Why? Because they are perfectly designed bludgeoning instruments. But you can bring your golf clubs, right? Wrong. Golf clubs are also forbidden. They're too long and too heavy. They have to be checked. This is the part where you have to switch your brain from what is this object to how could this object be used. The TSA officers are making split-second decisions based on the X-ray image. If it looks like it could be used to gain control of an aircraft, it's probably not coming through. The forbidden list, where lines are drawn in the sand. Now, let's flip the coin and look at the absolute hard nose. The stuff that will get you pulled aside faster than you can say, I forgot I had that. Obviously, firearms, explosives, and incendiaries are top of the list. But you'd be shocked how many people forget they have a gun in their bag. We're talking thousands of firearms caught at checkpoints every single year. And no, the TSA doesn't buy the I forgot excuse. You will face a hefty civil penalty. We're talking thousands of dollars, and local law enforcement will likely get involved. But beyond the obvious, there are the items that blur the line for the average traveler. Self-defense items are a huge category of confusion. Pepper spray is a tricky one. Most airports allow one small container of pepper spray, usually around 2 ounces or less, that has a safety mechanism to prevent accidental discharge. But if you're flying out of New York or certain other jurisdictions, even that might be illegal under state law. The TSA can allow it federally, but if you land somewhere where it's banned, you could be in trouble. It's a legal quagmire. Then you have the martial arts weapons, cubitons, throwing stars, brass knuckles. These are instant red flags. I've seen people try to argue that their brass knuckles are just a paperweight or a belt buckle. It doesn't matter. If it looks like a weapon and can be used as a weapon, it's going in the trash or you're going back to the ticket counter to check your bag. And here's a harsh reality. If you do go back to check your bag, you have to go through the entire security line again. So that lucky keychain that looks like a tiny knife just cost you an extra hour of your life and possibly a missed flight. This is the point where I want you to start paying attention to the rhythm of the checkpoint. The TSA agents are looking for anomalies. They are scanning for nervous energy, for people who are fumbling too much, for bags that look abnormally dense. They are human lie detectors with machines. And while they are doing that job, so are the other people in the terminal, the ones you don't work for the airport. The invisible predators, how airport thieves operate. This brings us to the darker underbelly of the airport experience. The title of this piece mentions how airport thieves pick their next victims. And I promise you, we are going to crack that code wide open. Because the truth is, while we are all worried about the TSA taking our water bottle, there is a completely different category of criminal working the crowd, and they don't care about your liquids. They care about your wallet, your laptop, your passport, and your peace of mind. Airport thieves are masters of psychology and opportunity. They don't look like the criminals you see in movies. They look like business travelers. They look like tired parents. They look like college kids heading home for break. They blend in because blending in is their primary tool. They operate in the spaces where our guard is naturally down. Think about the security checkpoint itself. You've just taken off your shoes, your belt, your jacket. Your laptop is out of its bag. Your quart-sized baggie of liquids is in a separate bin. Your phone and your wallet are probably sitting in a bowl or on top of your jacket in the plastic tub. You are physically separated from your belongings for those few seconds as you walk through the metal detector or body scanner. To a thief, that is the golden moment. There's a technique they use called bumping. You've seen it happen, even if you didn't register it. You're waiting for your bin to come out the other side of the X-ray machine, and suddenly someone accidentally bumps into you. They apologize profusely. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't looking." While you're turning to acknowledge them, a second person, their accomplice, is calmly walking past and lifting your wallet from the bin or slipping your laptop out of its sleeve. It takes less than 2 seconds. This is why you see the signs at the checkpoint reminding you to keep your hands on your belongings. It's not just about not forgetting them, it's about theft prevention. The moment you step through that scanner, your stuff is vulnerable. You need to have your eyes on it the entire time. Don't get distracted by the person who dropped their coins or the guy who is having trouble with his belt. Get your stuff, move to the recombobulation area. Yes, some airports actually call it that. And put your shoes on there. Don't squat down in the middle of the flow to pack your bag. You are blocking traffic and making yourself a target. The bathroom trap. Why you should never use this bathroom. Now, let's talk about something very specific. The title mentions, "Never use this bathroom." And I know that sounds like a clickbait line, but I want you to think about the geography of an airport terminal. Airports are designed for flow, but they have pockets of dead space. Bathrooms are one of them. There's a specific type of theft that happens in airport bathrooms, and it targets the one thing you cannot replace quickly: your documents. Think about the layout. You walk into a restroom, you find an empty stall, you hang your backpack or your purse on the hook on the back of the door. You're in there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. You're focused. You're not thinking about the person in the stall next to you. Here's how it goes down. A thief goes into the stall next to yours. They don't use the toilet. They simply wait. They listen. When they hear you flush, they reach over. There is a gap between the stall partitions and the floor, and often a gap at the sides. It's a simple thing to reach a hand over, unhook your bag, and slide it out from under the partition while you are washing your hands, or worse, while you are still in the stall adjusting your clothes. By the time you realize your bag is gone, the thief is already walking out of the bathroom, and they're blending into the crowd. Your passport, your wallet, your plane tickets, gone. And you're stuck in an airport, potentially in a foreign city if you're connecting, with no ID and no money. This is why I tell people, especially when traveling alone, to never hang a bag on the back of a bathroom door. Keep it on your body, or if you must put it down, put it between your feet where you can see it. That hook is a trap. But it's not just the bathroom stall, it's the bathroom entrance. Thieves will often work in teams near high-traffic restrooms. One will linger by the sinks, watching as people put their wallets on the counter while they wash their hands. People do this constantly. They set their expensive phone right next to the faucet. A thief can walk by, grab it, and be gone before you even realize the water is still running. It's that fast. The charging station scam, and then there are the charging stations. Oh, the charging stations. These are relatively new hotspots for theft, and people fall for it every single day. You're sitting at the gate, your phone is at 5%, and you see that bank of outlets or those USB ports in the pillar. You plug in your phone, and then what do? You lean back in your chair, you pull out your book, or you start watching the boarding process. Your phone is 10 feet away from you, attached to a cord. A thief doesn't need to steal your phone if they can steal your data. There's a thing called juice jacking, where criminals rig public USB ports with malware that can copy your data while your phone charges. But on a simpler level, they just want the physical device. They sit down next to you, or they stand near the charging station. When you look away for that split second, they unplug your phone and walk away. It disappears into a bag or a pocket. You don't notice until you go to grab it for boarding, and by then, the thief is on a different concourse or already at the gate for a flight to another city. The rule of thumb I live by is this: if you have to charge your phone at the gate, you do not leave it unattended. You stand there and hold it. I know it's boring, I know your legs are tired, but a new phone costs a lot more than a few minutes of standing. The bag carousel illusion. Now, let's leave the secure side for a moment and talk about baggage claim. This is the wild west of airport theft. People are exhausted. They've just gotten off a long flight. They're staring at the conveyor belt, watching for their black suitcase that looks exactly like 50 other black suitcases. And in that moment, they are completely disconnected from their surroundings. There are two primary methods thieves use here. The first is simple grab and go. They see a nice laptop bag or a designer suitcase come down the belt. They pick it up and walk away. No one stops them because everyone assumes that person is just claiming their own bag. By the time the real owner realizes their bag isn't coming and reports it, the thief is long gone. The second method is more sophisticated. It's the lookout and the snatch. The thief waits until the carousel is crowded. They watch for someone who puts their bag down next to them to check their phone. That moment of distraction is all they need. They grab a small bag, a backpack, a briefcase, and they walk off. It's not their bag, but they're walking with the confidence of someone who belongs there. The key is to treat baggage claim like you're still in a high-risk area. Don't put your bag on the floor. Keep it on your shoulder or between your legs. And don't get so focused on the conveyor belt that you forget about the bag that's already at your feet. The rental car shuffle. Here's a scenario that doesn't get enough attention, and it ties directly into how thieves pick their victims. You land, you get your bags, you take the shuttle to the rental car center. You're tired, you're juggling keys, you're loading suitcases into the trunk. You get in the car, you plug the hotel address into your phone, and you drive off. But you forgot one thing. The parking lot of the rental car center is a thief's paradise. They watch people loading their cars. They look for the person who puts their purse or laptop bag in the passenger seat while they walk around to the trunk to load the big suitcases. In that 5-second window, a thief can open the passenger door, grab the bag, and disappear between the rows of cars. They don't need to steal the rental car, they just want the valuables. And here's the kicker. They also watch where you're going. They'll follow you out of the lot to a gas station or a fast food restaurant. You run in for a coffee, leaving your bags in the car for just a minute. That's all the time they need. They break the window, grab the bags, and they're gone before you've even paid for your gas. The rental car lot and the first stop you make are statistically some of the most dangerous places for theft. Why you are the target and how to stop being one. So, how do they pick their victims? It's not random. Thieves look for easy targets. They look for distraction. They look for hesitation. They look for people who are overloaded with bags, people who are arguing with their travel companions, people who are frantically looking at their phones for directions. These are the people who aren't paying attention. Have you ever noticed that flight crews always look so composed? They move with purpose. They look around. They make eye contact. That's not just a customer service tactic. It's a security measure. Predators avoid people who look aware. They avoid people who look like they might cause a scene or fight back. They want the person who won't even notice the theft until an hour later. You can change your own energy. Walk with your head up. Know where you're going. If you're lost, step to the side, put your back against a wall, and then look at your phone. Don't stand in the middle of a thoroughfare with your bags at your feet. Keep your bags zipped and, if possible, with the zipper pull against your body or towards the front where you can see it. Backpacks are convenient, but they are a thief's best friend if you wear them on your back in a crowd. Wear it on one shoulder, or better yet, wear it on your front in crowded areas. Yes, you look like a tourist, but you look like a tourist who is protecting their stuff. The TSA's role versus local law enforcement. It's also crucial to understand the jurisdictional lines. A lot of travelers think the TSA is the police. They're not. TSA officers are federal employees whose job is to screen passengers and baggage for prohibited items that could pose a threat to aviation security. They are not generally empowered to arrest you for theft or pickpocketing. That's the job of the airport police, who are usually local law enforcement, city police, county sheriffs, or state troopers assigned to the airport. This creates a gap that thieves exploit. The checkpoint is a TSA zone. Beyond that, in the concourses and gate areas, it's a mix. But the reality is, the airport is a public space, and it's policed as such. If you have something stolen, you need to report it to the airport police immediately, not the TSA. The TSA agent at the X-ray machine didn't see the guy lift your wallet. They were looking at a screen. The local police are the ones who can review CCTV footage. And let's be honest, recovering a stolen item at an airport is incredibly difficult. Once that thief walks out of the terminal or boards a plane, your stuff is gone. That's why prevention is everything. You have to be your own first line of defense. The psychology of the lost traveler. One of the most effective tricks in a thief's playbook is creating a distraction by pretending to be lost or confused. Have you ever had someone approach you with a map, asking for directions in a language you don't understand, waving the paper right in your face? That map is a screen. While you're trying to be helpful, their hand is going into your pocket or your open bag. It sounds cynical, and I hate that we have to think this way, but in an airport, you have to be a little bit selfish with your personal space. It's okay to be polite, but you don't have to let a stranger get within arm's reach of your belongings. If someone approaches you with a map or a sob story, keep your hand on your bag and take a step back. Create distance. Most legitimate travelers will understand. A thief will usually move on to someone else who looks less guarded. I've seen the spill trick used 100 times. Someone accidentally spills their coffee or drops a bag of snacks right next to you. You naturally look down or even offer to help. While you're distracted, their partner walks by and lifts your bag from the seat next to you. It's a classic. The key is to recognize the pattern. If something chaotic happens right next to you, your first instinct should be to secure your belongings, not to help clean up the mess. I know that sounds harsh, but your safety and your property have to come first. The digital threat at 30,000 feet. We've talked a lot about physical theft, but we can't ignore the digital side of things. Airports are hunting grounds for digital thieves too. Public Wi-Fi is a major vulnerability. We all connect to the airport Wi-Fi to stream movies or check email. But unsecured networks are easy for hackers to infiltrate. They can set up a fake Wi-Fi hotspot that looks legitimate, something like free airport Wi-Fi or terminal a guest. When you connect, they can see everything you're doing. They can capture your passwords, your credit card numbers, anything you type. The rule here is simple. Use a VPN. If you're going to do anything sensitive on airport Wi-Fi, like banking or shopping, a virtual private network is non-negotiable. It encrypts your data so that even if someone is watching, they can't read it. Also, turn off your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi when you're not using them. Thieves can use devices to track your phone's signal and follow you. And speaking of tracking, consider the rise of AirTags and similar devices. They're great for finding lost luggage, but they've also become a tool for stalkers and thieves. There have been reports of people slipping AirTags into the bags or cars of unsuspecting victims to track them. If you're traveling, be aware of this. If you get an alert on your phone that an unknown device is traveling with you, take it seriously. Check your bags, your pockets, even the hidden compartments of your stroller or wheelchair. It's rare, but it happens. The post-security false sense of security. Here's the biggest psychological trap of all: the feeling of safety once you're past the checkpoint. People think, well, I made it through security, so everything must be safe now. That is a dangerous mindset. The security checkpoint only screens for weapons and explosives. It doesn't screen for character. The person sitting next to you at the gate has been cleared to fly, but they haven't been cleared to be a good person. Once you're in the secure area, you let your guard down. You leave your laptop on the table while you go to get a coffee. You ask a stranger to watch your bag while you run to the bathroom. Please never do that. No stranger is responsible for your bag. If they walk off with it, the airport police aren't going to arrest them because you entrusted them with your stuff. It's a terrible idea. I've seen people leave $1,000 cameras on chairs while they browse the duty-free shop. They think, I'll only be a minute, and there are cameras everywhere. The cameras are great for catching the thief after the fact, but they won't stop the theft from happening. And by the time the footage is reviewed, that person is on a plane to another country. Your stuff is gone. The helpful stranger. Another tactic that thieves use, especially targeting elderly or less experienced travelers, is the helpful stranger. You're struggling with the ticketing kiosk. Someone comes up and says, "Oh, I know how these work. Let me help you." They're looking over your shoulder, seeing you type in your credit card number and your confirmation code. They now have your information. Or you're at the self-service bag drop, and someone offers to lift your heavy suitcase onto the scale. While you're thanking them, they're feeling the outside of your bag, checking for the shape of a laptop or a tablet in the outer pocket. Later, they'll bump into you, unzip that pocket, and slide the device out. It's a numbers game for them. They try it on 50 people. If 1 or 2 succeed, it's a good day. You have to learn to politely but firmly decline help from strangers. Use the airport staff. If you need help, find someone in a uniform with an airport ID badge. Don't trust the guy in the business suit who just happens to be standing by the kiosk. The rental car return anxiety. Let's circle back to the beginning of the journey for a second, because the theft risk is actually higher when you're returning a rental car than when you're picking it up. Why? Because you're on a timeline. You're rushing to catch a flight. You pull into the return lot, you grab your bags, you hand the keys to the attendant, and you run for the shuttle. In that rush, you forget things. You leave your phone in the cup holder. You leave your charger in the back seat. You leave your sunglasses on the dashboard. Thieves know this. They hang around rental car return lots, sometimes even posing as attendants or homeless people. They watch as you park and rush away. Then they walk up to the car. If it's unlocked, they help themselves. If it's locked, they might look for the return attendant who is busy with another customer and simply act like they forgot their bag. The attendant, not knowing any better, might even unlock the car for them. The solution is to do a thorough check before you even pull into the lot. Pack your bags, check every compartment, and do it while the car is still in your control. Don't wait until you're at the curb. The TSA pre-check illusion. There's a common belief that if you have TSA pre-check or clear, you're in a more elite group and therefore safer from theft. That's not necessarily true. While the pre-check lines are often faster and you don't have to remove your shoes and liquids, they are still crowded with people who are distracted. In fact, because the process is quicker, people often move through it faster and are even less aware of their surroundings as they rush to repack their bags on the fly. Thieves also get pre-check. It's not a background check that prevents theft. It's a background check for terrorism and outstanding warrants. A pickpocket can have a clean record and still get pre-check. So don't let the shorter line lull you into a false sense of security. The same rules apply. Keep your eyes on your stuff, don't let strangers get too close, and be aware of your surroundings. The boarding process chaos. Finally, let's talk about the boarding process. This is one of the most chaotic times in the airport experience. Everyone is standing up, crowding the gate area, anxious to get on the plane. People are holding their boarding passes, their IDs, their bags. The gate agent is scanning tickets. It's loud, it's crowded, it's perfect for a thief. In this chaos, you have your bag on your shoulder or at your feet. As you shuffle forward, the person behind you might unzip your backpack pocket and remove a small item. You'll never feel it, or they might lift your wallet from your back pocket as you reach up to hand your ticket to the agent. The best practice is to keep your valuables in a front pocket or in a bag that is zipped and secured against your body. Put your wallet and phone in your front pockets before you get in the boarding line. Keep your backpack on your front or have it tightly secured. And don't put your boarding pass and ID back into a difficult-to-reach place until you are past the scanner and onto the jet bridge. Keep them in your hand until you're on the plane. Bringing it all together. So, here's the bottom line. The airport is a unique ecosystem. It's a place where thousands of people from all walks of life converge, all of them slightly stressed, slightly tired, and slightly distracted. The TSA has a specific job: to prevent another 9/11. They are focused on bombs, guns, and knives. They are not focused on your wallet. That's your job. The rules about what you can and cannot bring are extensive. And yes, sometimes frustrating, but they are the barrier between us and the worst-case scenario. Understanding those rules helps you move through the process faster and with less stress. But understanding human behavior, the behavior of the crowd, and the behavior of the predators within it, is what will keep your belongings safe. The thieves are counting on you to be looking at your phone. They're counting on you to be exhausted. They're counting on you to be polite. They're counting on the chaos of the bathroom, the baggage claim, and the rental car lot. Don't give them what they want. Be the person who makes eye contact. Be the person who keeps their bag zipped and in front of them. Be the person who says no thanks to the stranger offering unsolicited help. Be the person who uses a VPN and keeps their phone in their pocket. It's not about being paranoid. It's about being present. The next time you walk through those sliding glass doors, I want you to see the terminal differently. See the flow of people. See the pockets of stillness. See the opportunities for distraction. And then see yourself moving through it all with your head up and your hand on your bag. Because the best way to avoid becoming a victim is to simply not look like one. Travel is one of the great joys in life. It opens our minds and connects us to the world. Don't let the fear of theft ruin that joy. Just arm yourself with a little bit of knowledge and a whole lot of awareness. Safe travels.